The suit of swords is the sharpest and least sentimental suit in tarot. It governs the realm of mind, intellect, language, truth, logic, conflict, judgment, ethics, communication, strategy, analysis, and the suffering born from thought. While cups represent emotion, wands embody fire, and pentacles signify matter, swords are the storm of the human mind, brilliant, cruel, rational, paranoid, visionary, destructive, and disciplined. This suit is linked to the element of air, invisible yet powerful, life giving yet capable of becoming a hurricane. Swords cut through illusion, expose truth, and separate fact from fantasy, often arriving when life demands clarity rather than comfort. However, intellect is double edged. The same mind that solves equations can also invent excuses, spiral into anxiety, or rationalize cruelty. Thus, the sword suit carries more tension than others, as thought is both humanity's finest tool and favorite weapon. In readings, swords frequently address communication, conflict, decision making, law, mental health, truth telling, strategy, betrayal, ethics, arguments, boundaries, grief, and psychological struggle. At high polarity, swords represent intelligence, discernment, honesty, justice, strategic brilliance, eloquence, and mental discipline. At low polarity, they manifest as anxiety, overthinking, deceit, harshness, manipulation, cruelty, mental instability, cynicism, and self sabotage. The suit teaches a severe lesson. The mind can liberate or torture you, depending on who holds the blade, your wisdom or your fear. The Ace of Swords signifies the birth of thought, truth, clarity, revelation, breakthrough, and decisive mental power. A divine hand offers a sword crowned with victory, symbolizing truth granted by higher consciousness. This card represents mental clarity, new ideas, sharp insight, powerful realization, truth revealed, decisive communication, and the courage to cut through confusion. In shadow, it may indicate harsh truths, cruel words, mental aggression, overanalysis, or clarity used as a weapon. It asks, the fog is lifting. Now, what will you do with the truth? The Two of Swords symbolizes indecision and emotional avoidance. A blindfolded woman crosses two swords over her chest, representing defensive neutrality and a refusal to choose. This card embodies the feeling of, I don't know what to do, often because the truth is known but not accepted. It highlights difficult decisions, denial, and avoidance of conflict. In its shadow, it can lead to paralysis and willful blindness. Remember, indecision is itself a decision. The Three of Swords represents heartbreak and emotional suffering. The image of a pierced heart under storm clouds is a stark reminder of grief, betrayal, and painful truths. This card signifies sorrow and emotional wounds that demand attention. At its best, it can lead to healing through honest pain. At its worst, it can foster bitterness and victimhood. Acknowledged pain can heal, while worshipped pain becomes part of our identity. The Four of Swords signifies rest and recovery. A knight lies in repose, indicating a need to stop and heal after conflict. This card encourages contemplation and mental restoration, suggesting a strategic pause or retreat. However, in its shadow, it can lead to withdrawal and depressive isolation. Remember, rest is essential, but it should not turn into hiding. The Five of Swords represents conflict and hollow victories. It embodies ego battles, manipulation, and humiliation. Picture a smirking figure gathering swords while others walk away defeated. This card highlights arguments, betrayal, and selfishness. It reminds us that winning at a moral cost can lead to losing valuable relationships. In its shadow, it signifies narcissism and cruelty. Remember, not every victory is worth its price. The Six of Swords symbolizes transition and a healing journey. Imagine a boat carrying figures across turbulent waters to calmer shores. This journey is not joyous, it's a necessary departure from pain. It signifies emotional and mental movement, relocation, and healing after grief. However, in shadow, it may indicate emotional detachment or avoidance. Sometimes leaving is wisdom, but other times it's simply escape. The Seven of Swords is about strategy and secrecy. Visualize a figure sneaking away with stolen swords, glancing back. This card can represent lies, hidden motives, and manipulation. It suggests winning through cleverness rather than honor. In its higher aspect, it signifies tactical intelligence and discretion. But in shadow, it warns of dishonesty and betrayal. The key question is, are you being clever or merely untrustworthy? The Eight of Swords symbolizes mental imprisonment and fear. A blindfolded woman stands bound among swords, yet her bindings are loose, suggesting escape is possible. This card reflects anxiety, self limitation, and a victim mentality. It teaches us that many prisons are built from our thoughts. In shadow, it reveals severe anxiety, learned helplessness, and self sabotage. The Nine of Swords embodies anxiety and mental torment. A figure wakes in terror, haunted by thoughts, representing obsessive worry and fear of consequences. Often, the suffering exceeds reality. In shadow, it indicates intrusive thoughts and psychological torment. The enemy here is often internal. The Ten of Swords signifies endings and painful finality. A figure lies pierced by 10 swords, marking the collapse of an old chapter. Yet, dawn rises in the distance, reminding us that endings create space for rebirth. In shadow, it reveals a victim complex and a refusal to move on. The Page of Swords represents curiosity and mental restlessness. A young figure grips a sword, symbolizing observation and learning. This card embodies clever youth and communication. In shadow, it can lead to gossip and impulsiveness. It's the intern with talent but no filter. The Knight of Swords represents action driven by intellect and ambition. He charges forward with his sword raised, symbolizing decisive action, passionate arguments, and fast moving events. This card embodies bold communication and strategic attacks. However, in shadow, it warns of recklessness, arrogance, and impatience. Brilliant minds can sometimes trip over their own speed. The Queen of Swords embodies perceptiveness and independence. She holds her sword upright, symbolizing clear judgment and emotional intelligence. This queen is compassionate yet unsparing, representing wisdom gained through pain. In shadow, she can become cold and overly critical. The King of Swords signifies mastery of intellect and logic. He rules through reason, indicating intellectual leadership and principled judgment. However, in shadow, he risks becoming tyrannical and emotionally detached. Together, the Suit of Swords narrates the journey of the human mind, from the spark of truth to full mastery. It reflects the struggles of thinkers and strategists, emphasizing that truth can cut deeply and clarity may not always be gentle. The Sword Suit challenges us to consider whether our minds serve us or dominate us, and whether our intelligence has evolved into wisdom or merely sharpened our egos.